Well, hello and good morning, and nice to see you all. Wonderful. You are in the right places. The Daily Antidote song. Let's see, on Friday it was day 705 doing this successively. Wow. And so 2 days later, I can do the math at 9 a.m. on the West Coast. That would be 707. 707 days of coming together to sing through everything. And we are certainly in a moment that needs our singing so that we can be together. I'm Sandy O from Emma's Revolution.
And I'm Pat Humphreys. So nice to see your faces out there. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're so looking forward to hearing an old friend of ours, Tret Fure. It's going to be great fun to sing along with her and catch up a little bit.
And you know that we like to start things off by singing hello to you. So on Friday, we worked on we tried to sing this song, but our computer wasn't working. So we'll sing that same One Day More We See You, and this time you'll get to hear the track. Here's how it goes.
With all the rest of us.
Yeah.
One day more we see.
You can sing that part.
One day more we see.
Or you can sing the harmonies.
One day more we see.
And we'll sing hello to you.
One
We say hello to those on Facebook. So glad you're joining us here. We're so glad to know you're there. Let's say hello to Tret, who's joining as our guest today. Let's say hello to Aaron, who's running the tech today. So glad that you're here. I have to slow down for the track, yeah. There's Brian and Becky in BC, and Aloysius in Westerford. There's Hoda and Ellie and Karen on the coast. There's some water behind Karen. Sheila in Florida, Carolyn in Boise, and Susan in Ohio. Cliff in Vermont, and Sarah in Texas, and Gary and Kat in Vermont, and Kevin, we love you, good to see you. 707, yeah. Christiana and Bob and Meryl and Sherry in New Hampshire, and Bonnie and Fred in DC. There's Mary from Maine and Cricket and Deborah in Kentucky. Good day or good morning to Storm. So glad to see you. There's Kat in Charlottesville, and there's Nancy and Elle. Someone is connecting to audio. There's Trish and Peter and Ray. Hello to Louise and Ralph and Victoria, and Bronwyn also in Victoria. There's Jojo, hello, and Bob, hello, and Joni, hello. Christine, hello, and Hindi. We've got 2 Hindis today. Did I sing everyone's name this morning? We love to sing to you to get our day started, and to get your day keeping going wherever. On this 707th day of the Daily Antidote, we've got a song for you from a wonderful friend. It'll keep you energized and feeling hopeful and ready to do what we need to do on this one day more. Like that.
Good morning from California. Good whatever it is, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us.
Well, we are so happy to be able to host this friend of ours who is joining the Daily Antidote, maybe for the first time. We'll find that out. But Tret Fure has a long and very impressive trajectory as a prolific songwriter, as a producer of music. She opened, she started at the age of 16 performing and opened for bands such as Yes and the J. Giles Band. Come on, people. I remember Yes and the J. Giles Band. A prolific artist in the contemporary singer-songwriter scene, Tret has released 17 albums and CDs over the course of her 51-year career. She's produced countless recordings by various artists. She's been beloved in the women's music and the folk music community, and near and dear to our hearts, she served as president of our local 1000 for traveling musicians, and she was our president for 6 years. So please welcome President Tret Fure.
President Emeritus.
Right.
Thank God.
Right.
I was on the board for 18 years, so it wasn't just 6 years as president. It was 9 years as vice president and 3 years on the board. So, yeah.
Oh, my
I did
gosh.
I did my time.
Yeah. Well, we're so glad you decided to join us, and you've got a song. Oh, sorry, I was just trying to pop us up together. There we go.
There we
We're
are.
playing musical boxes here. So you've got a song for us to sing this morning, and we'd love for you to sing that, and the lyrics will get into the chat there, and then we can come back up and say hello and find out how you're doing and what's up.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, there are two parts to the chorus that you will sing with me, and I'll show you both. But I wanted to mention, first of all, the reason I chose this song at this time is because of the situation that we have found ourselves in the world, and the desperate need that Ukrainians have for our help and the help of the world at large. And what we can do today is sing about our freedoms, because we are so fortunate to have our freedoms. I wrote this song in 2015, and I wrote it. It's on my 2015 album Rembrandt Afternoons, and I was in the studio mixing, and I wrote the song before marriage equality. And the last verse references the fact that we can't marry, and I thought, I should change that verse, because I was still in the studio mixing, and I thought, well, I could change that last verse. And I decided that I would not change the last verse, because until marriage equality exists throughout the world, we still have that struggle. So it wasn't right to take that out. So I'll show you the chorus first, and then I'll sing you the counter chorus, and then we'll do the song. So this is the chorus. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Now, if you choose to do the counterpart, which of course we won't hear, but you might enjoy it, it would go, freedom, freedom, justice and love. Freedom, freedom, justice and love. So you choose your part. We'll start with the chorus 4 times, and then into a couple verses, and we'll just keep singing. You'll see it in the chat. So here we go. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. When your seams are tearing and your sleeves are threadbare and your shoes are wearing from the road, when your spirit's too thin and your heart's too heavy, remember all that you've been told. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. When the world seems shredded our battles stitched up and the fighting nothing more than show. When our fuel is fracked and our lives hijacked, remember all that we've been told. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Still our lives aren't equal, it's just another sequel of a tragic tale that we've been sold. If I can't get married, or I can't be buried by the one I have pledged forevermore, carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You know, oh, damn, I keep hitting the wrong spotlight. Ad. There we are. That is so great. Let us give a little bit of it back to you just because you've got so much energy going.
Go up to the thing.
What? We'll
So I
just
can
do the
see.
chorus.
I know. Go up to it though. Can you
Oh
get up
gosh, go up to it. Okay. 2, 3.
Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul.
So we love to reflect it because we've got the built-in harmony, and we know that the world is not full of built-in harmony anymore. But did you see the energy of all the folks who were popped up?
Yeah, that was fantastic. I'm so glad you put them up. That was wonderful.
Oh, that is a special trait of the Daily Antidote of Song tech wizards, Aaron and JoJo, and but really just gets everybody going, and such a powerful song. So you said you wrote in 2015, and of course we know how that is as activist singers. You write your song and you kind of wish you didn't have to sing it for the same reasons over and over again. But here we are.
Right. Well, then that's true. I have a few pandemic songs, of course, as all us writers do, and it's like, why do I still have to be singing this? It's just, but we do,
Yeah.
and songs are for all time. And obviously, a song like Freedom is always needed in the world in which we live. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
I've written it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think about it. Here I am saying that, whatever that is, 7 years as it seems, feels like, oh, we're still singing. But people have been singing like this for justice, for eternity. And I think that's one of the things that leads those of us who do this to be justice songwriters. Is there anything you want to say about how that fed into who you became after opening for Yes, and here you are singing about freedom?
Well, that was just a strange time in my life. I mean, my first real gig was I was Spencer Davis's guitar player back when I was 19 years old, and
tell us about Spencer Davis, because I actually don't know about Spencer Davis.
You don't know about Spencer Davis?
See, it's someone I should probably know about, but I don't.
Well,
so
I'm
there
sure
might be
a lot of people don't, but anyone of my age does. He was the Spencer Davis group came out of the 60s, out of the English invasion, and Stevie Winwood was his lead guitar player.
Okay.
It was a very popular group back in that day.
Right.
And he went on to be a acoustic blues player, Spencer, and I played acoustic blues, and he loved my voice, so I ended up being his guitar player, again, he had never worked with a woman before. It was a challenge for him, but we all learned. And from that, I got my first record deal. And the reason I opened for groups like Yes and Poco and Black Oak, Arkansas, even was because I was on MCA Records, and they would send me out on these tours, and I was the walk-in act. I mean, this is cutting your teeth. This is the real work. I would walk out on to the stage of 20,000 kids mostly on Quaaludes, you know, and I was called the walk-in act. Nobody really listened to me. You know, I just came out with my acoustic guitar, and I did my set, and, you know, got exposure, got paid, but it was really not a fun gig.
Oh my gosh.
Well, let me just point that out, since we're talking about here in Women's History Month, and in this week that Daily Antidote is calling sort of that Still Singing Women's History Month. The fact that you were there as a woman, you know, the first woman in that band, and being who you were, being the walk-in act for these bands that were primarily men.
Yes, absolutely.
How was that, and what do you feel like? Has that changed, or have you seen enough change in that?
Oh God, unfortunately not. You know, you think it's getting better, and then it doesn't. You know, it's like for me, when I spent the 70s in LA. I was a mainstream artist. I wanted to be a successful, you know, big name artist. And the interesting thing in the 70s, of course, it was so misogynistic, even more than it is now. And I was also one of the first two women engineers in Los Angeles. Leslie Ann Jones and myself were two women engineers, and that was a challenge because of my name. People would come into the studio and they say, "Well, where's Tret?" And I'd say, "I'm Tret," and I would just see the color just drain out of their faces because I couldn't possibly know what I was doing. Never lost a client. So, you know, I knew what I was doing. But by the end of the 70s, I was about to turn 30, and I hadn't had any mainstream success. So I was dead in the water. You know, 30-year-old woman without a big single, they're not interested. And that's when I fortunately discovered the women's movement and migrated easily and gratefully into women's culture. And it was so accepting and so beautiful. And, you know, thousands of women would show up in these concert halls. It was like, oh my God, you know. And so I was lucky in that regard. Yeah.
Well, and you were part of that, you know, the birthing of that really pivotal moment in music and in the, you know, the history of women in music.
Well, I wasn't part of the birthing because that was in '75. Chris Williamson and Meg Christian were really the birth mothers of women's music in that regard. I came into the scene in 1980. I was in LA doing groundwork as a women engineer and as a one of the few women artists in town. So they were really the one. I came into the heyday of it. You know, I came in when it was like I didn't have to build the road. I could walk down the road. Well, it was still a path. You know,
right.
Now it's paved, but.
Yeah, I was going to say it was still very early in that time,
yes,
and it was really, you know, to me, you know, being in the Midwest, you know, women's music sort of filtered its way, you know, to us. Not being on the coasts, it took a little while to make it into the interior of the country. So the '80s, you know, were really just like this. What is going on?
Yeah, exactly. That's how it felt on stage. I mean, to see a sea of sometimes 5,000 women, sometimes 2,000 women, and you go out into the intermission or at the end of sign, and you see the sea of beautiful women who are just like, and a few very brave men, and everyone was so happy and so delighted to be in a room of their own for once, and it's an experience I'll never forget. You know, things have changed, of course, now, but still, that was a culture that defined who we are in many ways, musically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Jojo was reminding me that the reason you got here to the Daily Antidote of Song is through Reggie Harris, who, of course, is a close friend of ours, too, and again, in that sort of circle of justice musicians. So when was it that you sort of, I mean, when you were in the women's music movement, were you writing justice songs, or did that evolve around?
I was some, not as much. You know, it's interesting because the women's movement, the politics were it was the politics of personal. You know, I mean, other than Holly, a lot of the women were writing love songs to women. You know, so that in itself was political. We were defining a culture where you were allowed to be with each other, But I always had political songs in my earlier albums. I mean, I started when I was in LA. I was part of Alliance for Survival, which was the anti-nuke movement at that time. So I was writing songs around that. But I think when I moved back into folk and got into the union, then my politics game became a little stronger on a political level. And I love writing anthems. I want people to. I always want people. Well, Pat,
No, the two of you. I mean, like that's what you're known for.
That we do.
Exactly. To get people to sing with you, that's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm just thinking about the lyrics of your song, "The Carry Freedom in Your Heart." I mean, it's so. Just even in the small amount of your history that you've been able to talk with us about here, there you were as a young producer, a woman producer. You were carrying freedom in your heart, like. Show up and you see me, that I'm Tret as a woman, and that should be okay. That would be freedom in that realm. So
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And earlier before we got on the scene, you and Pat were talking about a particular love that you also share in addition to music.
Yeah, I just learned from. I mean, we've known one another for a long time now, but the truth about musician friendships is we pass one another on the road somewhere, and then never see one another for a million years because we're all working at the same time and stuff. And so unless we're doing a show or a festival or something together, we don't see one another that often. But so it was lovely to actually read through your history in this and some of the things. We share a love of cooking, which is really fun. Cooking is an art form for me. And I'm sounds like it is for you too, which is really lovely.
Well, I always say if I hadn't gone into music, I would have gone into restaurant. Equally non-lucrative business.
Exactly.
And stressful.
That's what we always say.
Yeah. But
another way to not survive.
Another way to not survive, exactly. But I've always loved to cook. I've always loved to cook for people. And I actually did a cookbook when Chris and I left LA back in 1987. My friends weren't so sorry to see me go. They were sorry that I was going to not be having dinner parties for them. So I made a cookbook for all my friends in LA and gave them to them as Christmas presents. Well,
and some folks in this group might not know Chris Williamson is the person.
Right, that's true. Well, you can Google her. She's one of the founders of women's music. And we were partners for 20 years. So I gave them all the cookbook, and then one of the friends had a small publishing company, and she said, "Do you want me to do this professionally? And I'll do it for you as a contribution to my first solo album after Chris and I broke up." And I said, "That would be awesome." So she made like 1,000 cookbooks for me, and they have sold continually over the years. I am now down to about 4, so I either have to do a new cookbook or reprint. And I've had people say it saved their marriages. That's pretty awesome.
That is fantastic. I love it. I want to just see that. Also mention that Storm shout out that you and we and Bev Grant, Reggie Harris, lots of folks that people love here on the Daily Antidote are also a part of the People's Music Network. So that yes, good.
Absolutely,
that's a good thing. Well, well, maybe
we sing the song.
Let's sing the song again because it's still ringing in my ears. So.
Okay, the whole song or just the chorus?
Yeah, do the whole song. I think
why not? Great. Everybody's up for it. Here we go. Get this out of my mouth. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. When your seams are tearing and your sleeves are threadbare and your shoes are wearing from the road, when your spirit's too thin and your heart's too heavy, remember all that we've been told. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your our battles stitched up, and the fighting nothing more than show. When our fuel is fracked and our lives hijacked, remember all that we've been told. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Still our lives aren't equal, it's just another sequel to a tragic tale that we've been told. If I can't get married, or I can't be buried by the one I have pledged forevermore, carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul. Carry freedom in your heart, carry justice as a goal, carry love in every fiber of the fabric of your soul.
Yes.
I always have to have the big finish.
Yes.
I know.
Always.
You gotta have the big
Always.
finish, even on Zoom.
This stadium finish.
Yes. So tell us what you have coming up so folks can follow you. Oh, I wanted to keep you up there. Oh my goodness, we're having such a Zoom. There we go. Thanks, Erin. What you have coming up so people can catch up with you somewhere?
Well, I have one more live from home concert this month. I've been doing them every 3 weeks on a Thursday. So the March 24th at 7 p.m. Thursday, March 24th, I am on YouTube. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, it'll pop up for you. But it's always up on Facebook. It's always on Instagram, Twitter. You can find the link for the concert. This theme will be about women's history. And then my first live gig, the third one this year, but I'm starting a tour, is in Wilmington, Delaware on April 2nd. Then I go down to North Carolina for a series of shows and also a writing retreat. And then on to the Midwest for the rest of April and May. So it's all on my website, tretfure.com, F-U-R-E. You can find all my concerts there and also on Facebook events and all that stuff.
That's lovely.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for bringing such an exuberant song to us all, and a powerful song that we need right now.
Oh, thank you.
Tret.
Thank you for
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great to catch up.
We
Absolutely.
are gonna, thank you. We are gonna let you know about what we have coming up too, because we, like Tret, are gonna start to be in person. We've got some in-person shows this week. First indoor in-person shows, Palo Alto, with an intergenerational dance school called Dance Visions. And there's a Friday night show, and then the Saturday show will be live streamed, so everybody can come to that. We have a 1 p.m. thing that we do.
We will also have the fabulous Monica Pasquale and Coffee Brown with us at that gig, so that will be great fun.
Yeah. And then we do a weekly thing at 1 p.m. So if you want to come sing with us again today, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. All right, now it's time for us to bid you adieu, and we do that in the way that we do that, which is that we sing you out. And we want to thank, of course, please give great big thanks to Erin and to JoJo for keeping all of this going, and to Carpe Diem Arts for keeping arts in the world. So give me a note, Pato.
Okay. And thanks as well to Tret. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And we will sing you out the door first, Tret, so that you can head out on your way and do whatever you need to do for the rest of your day. Oh, Tret, we're so glad you joined us, and say goodbye to you now. Thank you for joining us and singing for us. Thank you to Brian, and goodbye. Becky, we'll see you next time, and Karen, we'll see you next time. Sheila, let let's see you next time. And Carolyn, bye-bye. And Susan, bye-bye. And Sarah, goodbye. And Sherry, goodbye. And Fred and Cricket and Deborah. And Susan and Shirley in Pennsylvania. And the names are popping so fast I keep missing them, so we'll say goodbye to all the folks on Facebook. Goodbye to Martha and goodbye to Phil and Outlaw Gang somewhere. Goodbye to the Curly Tops and Kate. Goodbye to Ann in Knoxville and goodbye to Storm and goodbye to Bob and the Bears and goodbye to Ann in Maryland. Goodbye to Kat in Vermont. Goodbye to Aloysius and Hoda, Don and Leanne and Dan. Goodbye to Julie in Ontario. And let's find someone whose name I haven't sung, because you pop up again and again and again. There you are. Goodbye to Elle. Much love to Kevin and goodbye to Kathy in New York. Goodbye to Ralph and Deli. Goodbye to Caroline and Trish. So long to Gary and Ruth. Goodbye to Nancy the Cow and Tom and Jane and Jojo and Aaron and Simke and Harriet. Goodbye to us. But if you don't leave, we can never leave. So you must leave the Zoom room. We'll see you again tomorrow on day 708, or we won't see you, but you'll see each other and someone else will be here to sing for you.